10 to 15 years ago, a band dominated music channels and radio stations. That band is none other than 303. Songs like Don't Trust Me were everywhere. You couldn't go into a supermarket without hearing it. You couldn't go into a club without hearing it. You couldn't get the bus without someone humming along to it. Then we had songs like Starstruck with Katy Perry, which was huge. But the one for me personally, the one that spent about 5 years in my head, the earwig that I could just not shake, and ever since researching for this video has been once again stuck in my head, was My First Kiss, featuring Kesha. So why is it that this musical duo, who seemingly could not make a flop, were so huge, were massive, and then just all of a sudden disappeared completely? Ask anyone under the age of 20 who 303 is, they've never heard of them. It's not something that they just comprehend. It don't make sense. Ask anyone over the age of 20 who 303 is, and they'll be like, who? And then you show them a picture or the song, and they'll be like, oh my gosh, them guys, I forgot all about them. What they do now? What? I forgot all about them. It's like they just took over everything and then disappeared from not just the industry, but everyone's mind. Well, I've done the research, so let's backtrack. Because we know the music, but the duo themselves were always quite mysterious. I remember every lyric to all 3 of those songs that I've just mentioned, but I cannot for the life of me, or well, I could not for the life of me, remember any of their names. In fact, I don't think I ever actually knew their names, despite knowing all the songs. So how did they start? The duo are both from Colorado, hence the name. 303 is the area code for Colorado. They're made up of 2 members, Sean Foreman and Nathaniel Motte. They started the band in 2014. They released their first self-titled album, 303, in 2007, and it spawned one successful single called Electroshock. 303 then signed to Photo Finish Records, a division of Atlantic Records, and planned to start recording their second album. After having hit shows in Colorado where they're from, they then moved to Denver for the larger venues and fan base. 303 then released their second album, which was called Want. They released that on July the 8th, 2008. It reached number 44 on the Billboard 200, but their song Don't Trust Me reached number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100. After that song is when they was seemingly everywhere. And unfortunately, because of YouTube copyright, I can't play the actual song, but I'm sure you're singing along to it in your head right now if you remember it. And if you don't remember it, take a moment to pause this video right about now. Go into YouTube search, look for the video, listen to it. Remember that song? Great. Now come back to this video. Hey, where did we leave off? The band. As you may remember, there was very much a comedy band. You know, they didn't take themselves too serious. It was very tongue-in-cheek kind of music, very ha-ha-ha comedy based. But that doesn't mean they weren't musical geniuses. I mean, let's look into the 2 guys. First off, we got Sean Foreman. He was born August 27th, 1985. As well as writing the 303 comedy ha-ha type of music, he's also worked with and written for Lil Jon, Andrew WK, Katy Perry, Blues Traveler, Wallpaper, The Somerset, and Carmen. He wrote on Kesha's debut album, Animal, and he co-wrote her platinum hit, Blah Blah Blah. He has also wrote on Ariana Grande's album, Yours Truly. So other than doing the 303 stuff, he does work as a writer for other musicians, and quite successfully so. So he is good at writing music. It's easy to think that these guys were just, you know, a couple of guys who had some beers, wrote some funny lines and put the music out there, but he is serious about music and he's a serious musician. Then we get to Nathaniel. He was born January the 13th, 1984. In addition to co-writing and producing, he also composes music for film, television, and video games. He scored a short movie in 2007 called Ubers. He grew up very much less the lyrical guy, more the musical guy. Started learning to play guitar, piano, was very instrumental inclined. So you've got these two guys who are actually quite successful at what they do. Now let's talk about the downfall of them, because it seems like they were going to be around forever, and that is truly not the case. So where did it go down? First of all is the lyrics. The lyrics didn't age very well. Don't Trust Me in particular, it had a few lyrics in there that have just, at the time, the world was more open to those kind of songs, but they haven't aged well. As well as that, they also took ages to release their albums. It took 2 years for their next album, which was called Streets of Gold. So how it normally happens in the music world, you release an album or a song, it does very well, and then you quickly jump on to making more music. While all the kind of eyes are on you, you want to kind of get around and do as much as you possibly can. As soon as you get that fame, you need to keep hold of it because it's very fragile. But it was never the case with these. They just kind of said, we're still going to take our time. In fact, every album they've released has had these long breaks in between for about 2 years, during which time the fans that did like them have grown up massively or outgrown them. It really didn't help that during this time was also when we was introduced to LMFAO, right? And LMFAO were huge and very much the same. This was a duo who made not so serious kind of goofy music in a similar kind of style, who took their fame. It's like 303 was the warm-up for LMFAO. Took like a 2-year hiatus to write the next album, all while LMFAO said, we'll fill the gap for you. You're craving this kind of music. We'll fill it, and release song after song after song, started gigging a lot, doing all these tours, and pretty much took every single fan that they had. So by the time 303 released Streets of Gold, all their fans had moved over to LMFAO. And then it looked backwards. It looked like 303 was trying to be LMFAO. Well, the fact of the matter is, it was LMFAO who were being 303. But they were still making money. They were clever guys. By 2012, 303 earned a gross revenue total of about 12.9 million from their music, which is massively impressive. By the next year, though, 2013, is when they had basically disappeared completely. One reason why they might have took so long in releasing albums was because they didn't like their label. Remember me saying that they had signed with Photo Finish? They was under contract with them. They really didn't like the label. There was a lot of beef between them. So they probably purposely was drawing the whole thing out. Everything they've done recently has been independent and been on their own. So where are they now, you're asking? Where are they now? Well, they do actually still release music. Here are some of the albums that they released. As you can see, big gaps between them, but they are still releasing music. Their last one was an album called Need, which was in 2021. They also released a song, I'm So Sad, with a music video in 2021. The sad fact is that their fans have just simply outgrown them and no one hears about them anymore. The first songs we look back on because it's so nostalgic, right? Super nostalgic. The new music isn't hitting like it should, but they seem to just be doing it for fun now. They seem to be making music that they just want to make or that they like. I don't think the money really matters because at the end of 2012, they had $12.9 million. So that's a lot of money. And I have heard, I can't find any facts on this, but I have heard that they branched out to real estate. So they started buying up some properties, which was probably very lucrative of them. And once again, shows just how clever they are. They didn't just take all this money and spend it going out partying. Both of them had long-term girlfriends. Both of them have got married. So they was never, even though they portrayed the kind of party attitude, that was never really them. So even though I can't find any proof on the fact that they did go into real estate, when you look at how they've acted, it seems pretty believable that that is the path that they ended up going down. And they're not just releasing their own music. Like I said, both of them are talented in music and like to get involved in the background, which is very much what they are doing now. They're working behind the screens and behind the music with other artists on their music. A great example of this is in 2001, they released a hyperpop version of Rebecca Black's song Friday. And now I bet you're wondering to yourself, what the hell happened to Rebecca Black? Well, wonder no more, because here is a video on Rebecca Black. Where is she now? So do check that out, because that is another interesting nostalgia-driven musical icon for you.